Good morning. Call to order the public meeting, Arapahoe County, today, March 7th, 2017. And to my left is Ron Carl, County Attorney. To my right is Jolene Sanchez, Assistant Clerk to the Board. Ms. Sanchez, would you call the roll of the Board, please?
Commissioner Jackson?
Here.
Commissioner Holland?
Here.
Commissioner Conti?
Here.
Commissioner Baker?
Here.
Commissioner Sharp?
Here. Commissioner Baker, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have, or Mr. Carl, are there any modifications to the agenda this morning?
There are no modifications today.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Holland, seconded by Commissioner Baker. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. We have 3 sets of minutes to approve today where we had all board present, February 7th, February 14th, and February 24th. I'll entertain a motion to approve all of those minutes. 21st, February 21st. 2017. I'll entertain a motion to approve all of those minutes. Motion made by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Conti. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Now is the time for citizen comment on anything that is not currently on our agenda. Do we have anyone who would like to speak? And if you'd state your name and address for the record, please, and this will kind of apply to anybody who's talking today. We have this little light here, and we have 3 minutes, and so when you have about 30 seconds left, the yellow light will come on, and then the red light at 3 minutes. So welcome.
My name is Becky Roberts. I live at 714 in Bowden Mile Road, Watkins, Colorado. The residents in Watkins received 2 updates this week concerning the proposed ConocoPhillips Swan oil drilling site. First, on Monday, February 27th, Diane Kosis informed our communities that Arapahoe County is going to require an alternative site analysis for the Swan drilling locations. The second was the letter from Maxwell Blair of ConocoPhillips dated Friday, March 3rd. He stated that ConocoPhillips has withdrawn their current application but will revise and resubmit in the near future. Both updates are reason to be encouraged and concerned. We are pleased that an alternative location analysis will be required. The present site is too serious of a threat to our health, environment, safety, and quality of life. The impacts of this current location cannot be mitigated. The applicant should demonstrate that all other options have been considered. The owner of the land on the far eastern side of Section 6, where the site is currently proposed, is the same owner of the land on the far western side of Section 6, where no homes would be at risk. Since 2-mile laterals are already standard in the industry, the minerals under Section 6 could just as easily be accessed from a site close to Watkins Road using west to east laterals. That would not trap any residents when an accident, spill, fire, explosion, or lightning strike happens. Fire or chemicals from an accident would be whipped directly at our 55 homes with the west prevailing winds. 40-mile-per-hour winds like yesterday are not uncommon in Watkins. Our attorney, Matt Sewer, has already provided several exhibits for alternate locations. Matt Lepore, director for the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission, stated, "Rather than shoehorning these sites in, have you looked for alternatives? There are alternative sites. Is the landowner willing to negotiate? The letter from Maxwell Blair does not alleviate our concerns about the site. We will follow closely the new application. No matter how many wells are in the initial application, more can always be added after the pad location is approved. If 6th Avenue is used as the access to the production, or if the site is closer than a half mile from homes, then we will continue to ask for additional site analyses. When I was interviewed by Bruce Finley of the Denver Post, he asked what distance would be acceptable. My response was that the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment suggests that any site closer than a half mile is too close to be safe from the VOCs emitted in the air. Thomas Friedman said on Sunday, government moves at the speed of trust. I invite you, Commissioner Jackson, Commissioner Baker, Commissioner Holland, Commissioner Conti, Commissioner Sharp, and Director Smith to come to my house and personally view the peril our entire community will be in if the site is approved. Trust will be built when you approve our request for a public hearing. That is our only option to be sure the decision makers are aware of our concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Welcome, Ms. Fay.
Diana Mays, BOCC Administration Manager, reading into the record for citizen J.M. Fay, who resides at 2575 South Syracuse Way, Denver, Colorado, 80231, that's unincorporated. We have yet to figure out our Mac laptop, so we will just say we have noticed a lot of cars parked where our car was parked for 5 minutes while we were going home to use the loo. None of these cars have been ticked or towed, and they have been there overnight too. There is also a car parked on our side of Yale, expired plates from October, with an abandoned vehicle ticket from Arapahoe several weeks old, and a ticket from DPD parking also several weeks old. Yet this car is still sitting here, and this is going on 6 weeks or so. Yet our car not even there 5 minutes with explanations as to why we couldn't get the title cleared to legally register what's been vindictively towed by the sheriff. Again, Yale is Denver County. Ms. Jackson, someone told us you appointed someone who lives in District 2 to be on the Budget Committee as your rep. Do we not have someone who lives in 4 of the 140,000 or so people to be your rep? And we might remind you, we live in 4. Commissioners, last week we sent you a link to a website in which we found very disturbing information. Senator Tate first turned this on to us when he asked us to do outreach for him about 2 months ago. The same system that is allowing porn to be seen by elementary kids at a CCSD school is also in our library district. We would hope the 5 of you would have a problem with this and ask the ALD board of which you appoint what is going on. Have you done so? And again, unless we missed it, they have 2 open positions and a 3rd one also due to be reappointed in February of 2017. Please ask the tough questions and get this stopped. Lastly, we would like to talk to you about a very principled person. That is Senator Chris Holbert. We first met him before he was even sworn in to be the rep from Parker at the Capitol when he just stepped up and volunteered to help us read our testimony. He didn't know us from Adam, but he just stepped up to do the right thing, and he has been doing it ever since, including a few weeks back. We do believe he gets a kick out of it, as he never knows what we will say, but he always knows we are fair and we speak the truth. Can you tell us if the 5 of you are principled people? Because the 5 of you have yet to fully deal with the situation. County and Cunningham staff caused us, and then the lot of you escalated when this all came out in 2008. This ends when this is fully dealt with, so it actually stops. Apologies are rendered and compensation is fairly made. We are not going anywhere either. We might remind you. Nearly 21 years is long enough, don't you think? Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Ms. Fay. Is there anyone else who would like to? Welcome. Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Margie Wright, 34755 East 10th Drive, speaking in regards of the Swan Wells site. And thank you for your time. Rick and I, we purchased our home in Watkins Farm Development 2 years ago, and we were ready to leave the city with all the neighbors 6 feet away from you. We bought our home out here, and we felt like we found our little piece of paradise in Watkins Farm. And like all of our neighbors, we have worked hard to afford our homes in this development, and most of these homes are $500,000 homes. So this may be peanuts to people like ConocoPhillips and the landowners, but we've worked hard for our places out there, and not to mention, if this development goes through, we would lose our quality of our peaceful environment out there. So we would like the proposed site to be reconsidered and possibly find an alternative site. 6th Avenue, as they mentioned, is our main road in and out of Watkins Farm, as well as all the homeowners that live south off of Imboden Road. So this is our only way in and out of this development, and I can only imagine the magnitude and chaos that would take place if an explosion or something happened out there. And while the oil and gas companies say accidents are rare, we all know they do happen, and people are killed, and explosions can cause closure of nearby roads for days, as was the recent incident they had up there just north of Denver in Hudson. For 2 days, that county road was closed, and it sprayed 28,000 gallons of this oil contaminant from the drilling wastewater into the surrounding area before they were able to redirect it into tanks. This blowout hit an area of 2,000 feet wide, 2,000 feet long and 1,000 feet wide. And this proposed site for the Swan Wells is 750 feet from our homes. So we are asking Arapahoe County Commissioners to support the homeowners near the Swan Well site and require that they do have a public hearing and reconsider an alternative location. And the health effects that are involved, they had a 3-year study that was provided by the Colorado School of Public Health, and it was published in the Science of Total Environment. It concluded that fracking can contribute to acute and chronic health problems for those living near natural gas sites. The study found that those living within a half a mile of this natural gas drilling site, they faced a greater health risk of those who live farther away. A half a mile. That's 2,640 feet. ConocoPhillips wants to put the Swan Wells within 750 feet of our homes and our development. So also a new research suggested that children living in the areas, they face an increased health impact, namely certain types of leukemia. And as a result of these exposures to pollutants associated with this drilling activity, are you willing to put our adults and our children in harm's way?
Sorry to interrupt, but we're kind of, if you could close, that would be
okay,
wonderful.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, so basically what we would like to do is we're not opposed to oil and gas development, but all we want you to do is consider relocating it to a site that makes it safe for everyone, so it's a win-win for all.
Great. Thank you very much.
My name is Mary Agnes Bonstock. I live at 836 Imboden Mile Road in Watkins. Concerning the Swan Well site off of 6th and Watkins Road, the oil and gas industry has a primary role in helping us plan to respond and recover from the broad range of potential emergency situations that can disrupt the normal operations of oil and natural gas supply systems and affect surrounding communities. This industrial oil well operation and emergency preparedness, response, and recovery efforts should support the needs of the surrounding communities, Watkins Farm, and those off of South Imboden. Operational diversity of oil wells does not enhance emergency response action, especially in industrial well operations such as the Swan site. For this particular site, there is strategic importance regarding emergency response for our communities because 6th Avenue is the only access road for both us and the site. The evacuation strategy for a typical oil well site includes a plan for the removal of personnel from the drilling location and residents within the surrounding area, with emphasis on those within a 1-mile circumference. Many residents live within that 1-mile circumference, and any emergency would have a far-reaching and significant impact on us. A timely response and recovery time from the nearest fire department is half an hour, and that department only has 1 full-time fireman. Since any major incident at the Swan Well operation would effectively shut off our communities from evacuation as a result of our no-outlet road, how would responders be able to reach our communities?
We have no alternative emergency strategies because of the situation awareness of 6th Avenue being a no-outlet road restrains our communities to one of the poorest emergency circumstances. Under ConocoPhillips' Health, Safety, and Environment Policy, it states, ConocoPhillips is committed to protecting the health and safety of everybody who plays a part in our operations and lives in the communities in which we operate or uses our products. Wherever we operate, we will conduct our business with respect and care for both local and global environment and systematically manage risk to drive sustainable business growth. We will not be satisfied until we succeed in eliminating all injuries, occupational illnesses, unsafe practices, and incidences of environmental harm from our activities. The Swanwell site is in opposition of their safety policy because the drilling site does not look out for the safety of those who live where they operate their products because of our no-outlet road. The impacts of oil well events can be unpredictable, but one thing we know for certain, we would not be able to get out in an emergency. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak during public comment? Okay. Seeing no one, we will move on. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Holen, seconded by Commissioner Baker. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. We have several general business items, and all of them are public hearings today. So the first one is, and I have to say, thank you for bringing these children. They are so well behaved. And I apologize, this is going to be a little bit longer time for them to sit, but very, very impressed. So, and hopefully they'll see a little bit of government working, but thank you all, and especially all of you all who are here, but especially the kids who are here. So, okay, we'll move on, and let's see, our first, turn the page back here. Our first public hearing is adoption of the fourth quarter supplemental appropriation resolution. And Mr. Christofferson, would you set the foundation, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pursuant to state statute, once the county has adopted its annual budget, the board may transfer appropriate monies between funds or between spending agencies within a fund, or if unanticipated revenues are received, the board may elect a supplemental budget and appropriation only after notice of the transfer and or supplemental appropriation has been published. The record should reflect that notice of the 21 amendments to the 2016 and 2017 budgets was published in the March 2nd, 2017 issue of the Villager newspaper. Therefore, the board has jurisdiction to consider these 21 amendments to the 2016 and 2017 budgets.
All right, thank you. Okay, our presenter today is Leanna Quint. Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. I have for you the fourth quarter review that there's 21 resolutions that were brought to you at a study session on February 13th, and they affect both the 2016 and 2017 budgets. Some of these resolutions include to recognize and appropriate $360,000 in the General Fund Administrative Services for additional revenues collected above budget to cover the additional expenditures for utilities that occurred, appropriate $15,000 in the General Fund Human Resources to cover expenditures in 2016 that exceeded appropriations, recognize and appropriate $35,804 in the Employee Flex Benefit Fund for additional revenue received and disbursements made for the flex spending accounts, recognize and appropriate $150,000 in the General Fund Sheriff's Office for the City of Centennial contributions to the Crime Lab, and $170,668 in the General Fund for the IGA with Centennial. And finally, recognize and appropriate $22.2 million in the Infrastructure Fund for the Quincy Gun Club intersection and Iliff Avenue corridor projects that will be reimbursed by CDOT and federal funds. Any questions?
Any questions from the board? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Flint. I will now open the public hearing on these budget. Let's see, fourth quarter supplemental appropriation resolutions. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this issue? Okay. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chairman, I move to adopt the 21 supplemental appropriation requests to the 2016 and 2017 budgets that were presented to the board at the fourth quarter budget review study session on February 13th, 2017, and brought forward today for today's public hearing for formal adoption.
Second. Motion made by Commissioner Baker, seconded by Commissioner Conti. Any further questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, seeing none, motion passes unanimously. Our second public hearing today is Shuck Restoration Minor Subdivision P16-012, and our attorney is Senior Assistant County Attorney Robert Hill, and our presenter is Mr. Sherman Fair. Mr. Fair. Oops, Foundation. Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This minor subdivision has been advertised in the Villager and the I-70 Scout, just the Villager, and it has otherwise been noticed in accordance with our code requirements. The board does have jurisdiction.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Mr. Fair.
Good morning, Commissioners. The applicant, Doug Shuck of DGS Properties, as the owner, is requesting approval of a minor subdivision known as Shuck Restoration Minor Subdivision. The purpose of this request is to create a platted lot in accordance with the county's subdivision regulations. The proposed lot is 2.06 acres and the zoning is B4. There is a related administrative case that is going along with this administrative site plan that will seek to get approval for a vintage car facility that has sales, repair, restoration, and storage, which is allowed in the B4 zone district. It is located on the southwest corner of Santa Fe and Stanford Avenue. Both the Planning Commission and planning staff are recommending approval with conditions of approval based on the findings contained in the staff report. Are there any initial questions?
Questions for Mr. Fair? No initial questions. Thank you.
Okay, I'll introduce Jerry Davidson, the applicant's representative.
Mr. Davidson, if you would state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Jerry Davidson. I'm with Perception Design Group. My address is 6901 South Pierce Street in Littleton, Colorado. I am the civil engineer on the project. The purpose of our plat here today is merely to consolidate several existing lots into one lot to create a development parcel. I don't feel there's a whole lot of discussion I can give you without some questions, so I'm here to answer your questions today.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board? I just had one. Have you had any public comment with regards to this combining these lots?
We have no negative comment.
Okay.
From the public.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. And I will open the hearing, this public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this issue? Okay. Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion. Commissioner Conti.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the case of P16-012 Shuck Restoration Minor Subdivision, we have read the staff report dated January 24, 2017, and received testimony at the public hearing. We find ourselves in agreement with the staff findings, including the draft plan and attachments as set forth in the board summary report dated February 17, 2017, and approve this case subject to the following conditions. Number 1, the applicant must make all modifications to the minor subdivision final plat as requested by the Public Works and Development Department. Number 2, the applicant shall address all engineering services division comments and concerns as identified within their reports prior to signed Mylars. Number 3, the applicant shall address Tri-County Health comments regarding landfill, gas per the referral comments. Number 4, the applicant shall address CenturyLink's comments regarding utility equipment per the referral comments. Number 5, the applicant shall address CDOT's comments regarding right-of-way, permits, and access per the referral comments. Number 6, the applicant will secure documentation of service commitments from Denver Water for water and South Inglewood Sanitation District for sewage services. Number 7, the applicant provides modification to the plan and support documentation as identified in the SEMSWA staff report.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Conti. Do I have a second? Second. Seconded by Commissioner Holen. Any further questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Good luck. Thank you. Okay, our next three public hearings are Prosper Wastewater Treatment Plant Location and Extent. That's L16-002, Appeal of Planning Commission Denial. The second one is Prosper Wastewater Treatment Plant 1041 Permit. That's AS 1AS. Is that an L?
I.
I. Thank you. I need my glasses. ASI 16-001. And the third one is Prosper Wastewater Treatment Plant Subdivision Exemption X 16-001. And Mr. Hill, would you set the foundation, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. All three of these items have been noticed by publication, posting, and letter to adjoining property owners. The board has jurisdiction to proceed on all three of the items.
Thank you. Mr. Fair is our presenter. Mr. Fair.
Good morning again, Commissioners. The applicant's representative would like to address the Board of County Commissioners at this particular point in time.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jeff Vogel. I'm with Vogel & Associates, 475 West 12th Avenue, Denver, 80204. I want to take the opportunity on behalf of the Metro District. Over the last probably 2 to 3 weeks or more, we have continued to evaluate certain considerations associated with the plant in terms of technologies, additional things that we are reviewing, and part of that effort is going to include continued discussions with the church who's located to the east of us and others in the surrounding community. So that said, I'd like to respectfully request that we continue the three applications for the next 60 days because we'd like to continue our evaluation, continue our community outreach. Something that, as some of you may know, has been pretty near and dear to Prosper over the years is our community outreach program is really important to us. So we want to continue that. And that would be our request on all three of the applications.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vogel. I was just asking, since we have a lot of people who came today, and the question was really to take some testimony today or wait until, this comes back in 60 days and hopefully something can be resolved with all of the individuals to the satisfaction of everybody in this room. So I'm very respectful of the fact that so many people came this morning and that so.
Yeah, and our thought on that is that due to some of the things that we were looking at evaluating, it would actually change the testimony probably, including our presentation. So that's why we would probably respectfully request that it be continued and
wait and take testimony.
Just because it could change our presentation and I think testimony as well.
Okay. I think I probably, if the group has a representative that has a general, if you could, maybe take your 3 minutes. I think we've certainly gotten from everybody the concerns, but I am respectful of everybody being here today. But if it is going to change and you can work something out, spending a couple of hours here this morning may not be kids can get back to school and it may not be the best use of your time. But, so I don't know if you have a representative who would like to, I think that probably makes sense, and we will ask for, I'm seeing some people nodding from our board, and Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, thank you, and I appreciate, Mr. Vogel, your willingness to work with the church and the school and coming up with some plan that as was earlier said, is win-win for everybody. But I am concerned that these folks came so far to testify, and I understand your position that they may be testifying to something that may not exist in 60 days. So there's kind of a confusion here. But I do think, Madam Chair, if folks would like to speak to, in general, some of their general concerns, not specific to these moving parts, Mr. Vogel, I see you may not. Well, but I mean, we've got a lot of people here and a lot of kids here who drove a long distance, and I don't know if we can make it in such a way that folks can be heard, but not, but they may have to come back again. I mean, I don't know how to make this a win-win for people.
And I think it makes a lot of sense, and I really appreciate the fact that, and I would suspect that everybody here really hopes that this could happen. I would ask of all of the folks here if you have a representative that could really kind of compress all of the general concerns, and so that the applicant can, who probably has already heard them, but get them into the public record, and then we will come back and vote. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay,
What's that? Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. So if I open the public hearing, we can continue the case, but I can leave the public comment period open until the next the continuation. So I'm not saying that this is the only time to comment. When it comes back, there will be plenty of opportunity to hear all of the comments at this when it is rescheduled. I just want to make sure that you know that when it's rescheduled, everybody will have an appropriate time to come again. So, yes, sir. Let me open the public hearing just to make sure.
My name is Dave Eddy. I live at 2960 Wagner Street in Strasburg. I've worked for Friends and Pittman General Contractors, one of the largest general contractors in town. I'm the head of the Pre-Construction Services Department. In my department, our job is to find the problems, fix them, whether it be budget or constructability. I solve problems for construction projects. And I've represented the Society of St. Pius X, Denver, Inc., a number of times over the last several years in construction-related matters. First thing I'd like to say is that we have a number of things prepared. If we're going to be continuing this, I don't think we want to present those anyhow because it probably won't apply once things have changed. But it is a pretty grave inconvenience. We have people who've taken vacation days to be here. So we've got a lot of people that they should be at work and they couldn't just say, well, I'll be in late. They just had to take a vacation day. So it's pretty unfortunate that we couldn't have known about this yesterday. But our objections are not to the Prosper development or the idea of the sewage treatment facility. Our objections are to its location and the supposed need for it to be where it is. And we think we can demonstrate very clearly that there are a number of different options, and we look forward to doing that if some agreement isn't reached during this continuance period. We feel, quite honestly, as though it's a great bit of disrespect going on in the way this has been done. In that, picture yourself coming into work on Saturday to work, and nobody's here. The parking lot's empty, and you go park off in the corner. And then when you come out to go home, somebody decided to pull their monster truck up alongside you in the space directly adjacent to you so that you can't get in the door of your car. We're the only thing out there for 5,000 acres, and the sewage treatment plant is abutting us as tightly as it could. It couldn't be 1 inch closer than it is. So those are our issues, and I do look forward to the next 60 days if we can come to some resolution, because we're not opposed to this at all. Matter of fact, we'd love people to be able to move into houses in the development. But we won't budge on that point. It cannot be where it's at. So that's our position.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And again, we were not aware of appreciate the effort to work with y'all. We were not aware. Had we been aware, we certainly could have notified everyone. And I am not going to close the public hearing because for public testimony, and I will keep that open for the continuation. And Commissioner Holland, I'll get you in 1 second, but I wanted to, Mr. Vogel, do you have a date certain?
I do not have a specific date, but I would request 60 days for your next regularly scheduled meeting.
Okay. Maybe we can try to pin that down so that everybody knows.
I did a quick look on my phone calendar, and it looks like 60 days, that adds up to a little bit more, would be May 9th.
May 9th. Okay. What's that? Commissioner Conti.
Just wondering if we need to back it up maybe to the 2nd so that we do not exceed the 60 days and we make sure that we fall within.
Well, we would be willing to, if it works better for the board, we're flexible on that date a little bit.
Move it up. And I know I will be out of town on that Tuesday.
Well, we could.
So
the 9th,
I'd like to have a full board if we could.
Yeah, we would respectfully request that as well. So whatever date would work with approximately 60 days within that realm where we would have a full board, we would appreciate that.
Okay. And I think we'll probably look to that first Tuesday in May would be the date. Commissioner Holland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank Vogel for your willingness to begin to listen a little bit more intensely to the issues. I know that we've been very supportive as a commission, Board of County Commissioners to support the project out of Prosper. I think it's a great opportunity to provide additional housing that's desperately needed throughout our community. And secondly, I want to commend the community for their willingness to come out and apologize for not moving forward with this. I think this is the better option. I think it's an opportunity for the community and the developer to sit down and begin to talk about what the issues are and make your decisions based upon the facts, not assumptions. I've been learned a long time ago in my political career that you never assume. So I appreciate what you're doing, Mr. Vogel, and let's all work together to find a reasonable and actionable compromise. Thank you.
The other thing that I wanted to, and I know we have received a number of phone calls and emails, and I want to assure you that we read those and they are entered into the record. Every phone call, every email is entered into the record, and we read those. So if it is not possible to come next time, I want to assure you that that is something that we take very seriously, and we read every one, and we understand the concerns. So if any you all in the room or anybody else that you know has submitted or a comment by email or called, that is in the record. So, Commissioner, yes, sir, just one moment.
Yeah, just
Commissioner Jackson.
In that same regard, the fact that you are here and that you all made some sacrifice to get here, we know it's a long drive, and that you brought your children and that you are all so passionate about this issue says something as well. We have a lot of hearings and we do a lot of different things, but I have never seen this room so full. And so that is a testament to you and your commitment, and that in itself is a public statement, if you will, of your concerns. I just want to say that we see and hear that concern. And again, we appreciate Mr. Vogel and his client for being willing to work with you, because I think they too see your passion and your commitment. So it's part of the public process. It's sometimes not quick and easy, but if we hang in there together and try to come out with a solution that is best for all, that's really what we want.
Okay. I think we've got a date. Yes, sir. Without kind of opening the door here with, if you go ahead, if you would like to come on up, but I think, if I could, we'll take your testimony and then I think we'll go ahead and vote on the continuance. Yes, sir.
I'm Father Dennis McDonald. I'm at 277 South Watkins Road, Watkins, Colorado. I'm the pastor of St. Isidore's and the principal of Our Lady Help of Christians Academy. So I understand, obviously, his willingness to continue, but just from the I-70 Scout, when he was asked after the last meeting, Mr. Vogel was asked about it. He said, basically, we're continuing on with the location where it is. We're continuing on because the costs are restrictive. So obviously, if there's a dialogue that is willing to happen, it's just that's the last kind of we heard from it. So that's why we presented, had everything ready for today. And we did bring all the kids here, and a lot of people made sacrifices in order for, to be able to try to understand that we can't have this next door to us. So, that was the last kind of we've heard. So it's news to me. Then there would be continued dialogue about it. And that's fine with that. But I just want to make sure, that is why we presented, and we had all our presentations ready for today, is because basically of, the costs were prohibitive to move it, and that they were going to go forward with the location. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And I know Commissioner Baker wants to make a comment, but, maybe in case the kids don't come back next time, if all of the young people in the room could just stand for a second. And, okay, great. So we get a sense of, okay, thank you all very much, and thank you very much for being here. You can go ahead and sit down. Mr. Vogel, just a question, if you wouldn't mind. So when you continue the conversations, what context would they be continued in? What alternatives are you looking at that you'd like to pursue with the church and with the school?
Well, I think our, we have had, just to back up, we've had community outreach. We had an open house for the community on August 5th. So we have done some of that. We've also had some direct conversations with the church. It's probably been about 2 months ago, before the holidays. But anyway, some of the questions or some of the issues we want to address further with them is their concerns regarding aesthetics and odor control, and what are different mechanisms or considerations that can be utilized to address those. Well, we think, candidly, we feel like we've done a really good job. We've exceed all the standards, but we hear from the church and others that, odors are a concern, and aesthetics, and the proximity of it. So we just want to talk about that further with them in terms of what things that can be done, on that. So that's kind of where we're at. And candidly, on our property and on their property. So, cause there's, again, I want to just stress, we see, Prosper's a 30-year project. It's a long-term thing for us. The church and the school are very important to us. We see our future residents being parishioners someday of that church. We see the school, given its proximity to Prosper and where it has, that it needs to flourish. We're a cornerstone of Prosper's education. So if we can do something that's going to help advance the goals of that, then we most certainly want to do that. So that's kind of where we kind of stand. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Baker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Like many of the people in the room, I had questions that I wanted to ask today. Some hard questions, some very important questions to get answers to. But if in fact the presentations change, if there's a significant change in what is being proposed, then those questions may not be relevant. So I'm willing to table those questions until we see the presentation in 60 days. And so if there's no other comment, I'd like to make a motion that we continue this, keeping the public.
I would ask that we have 3 motions, 1 for each of the agenda items.
Okay. So my first motion would be on the Prosper wastewater treatment plant location and extent, the appeal of the Planning Commission action of denial, case number L16-002. I move that we would continue this until as close as possible to 60 days.
May 2nd. Did we say May 2nd?
With
the 60 days, that's under 60 days. I think it's 62 days for May 9th, if I did my math correctly, but either.
To the date of May 2nd or as soon as possible thereafter, keeping the public comment period open.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Baker, seconded by Commissioner Holen. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
And just for the record, that continuance is at 9:30 a.m. at this location.
Thank you. Mr. Baker.
Second motion. Thank you, Madam Chair. Second motion I would make is in regards to Prosper Wastewater Treatment Plan, the 1041 permit, case number ASI 16-001. I would make a motion that this be continued to the same date as the previous motion, as soon as possible, as May 2nd or as soon as possible thereafter, keeping the comment period open until that time.
Second. Motion made by Commissioner Baker, seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Any further discussion on the motion? Saying none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Commissioner Baker.
Third motion would be in regards to Prosper Wastewater Treatment Plan subdivision exemption, case number X16-001. And again, I would make a motion that we continue this for approximately 60 days or as close to May 2nd as possible, 9:30 a.m. in the morning here at this location, keeping the public comment period open until that time.
Motion made by Commissioner Baker. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Conti. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. And I know it's a inconvenience and certainly a disappointment, but I appreciate the continued efforts to try to get us, all of you all, get us all on the same page. So thank you, everybody, for being here today. Really appreciate it. So are there any commissioner comments? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. I just.
One of the Sorry. I understand your concern.
could. Already completed it. Mandate certain, so we'd have to renotice it. Of course, that would be the commissioner's
That wasn't something they
choice.
might want to extend for discussion amongst itself. Just an option. I didn't know what to consider.
We have made those consideration on those issues, but once we set
What's the
date
times
certain,
in the book?
we're going to have to go back and redo it.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
You bet.
I may just not be remembering.
There is that provision, a few days. That's a public hearing.
Yeah. I might just double check. Oh, okay. Okay, you did. Okay. All right.
So now we're.
Yeah, that went.
All right. Well, they might be good to be helpful to just Bobby.
Now the. Basically just taking out mitigation, aesthetic mitigation.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you never know.
I've never had to deal with them. Yeah.